What are the 7 things you need to know about Oceania before you consider cruising with them? I'm Gary Bembridge. This is another of my tips for travelers. I'm in my cabin on board Oceania Insignia, and there's a whole bunch of things that I've learned through my Oceania trips that I thought that you really need to know if you're ever considering cruising on Oceania cruises, starting with this one. Oceania operate small to mid-sized ships. At the time of recording, they have 6 ships in their fleet, and they have 2 more on order. 4 of those are a class of ship called the R-class ship, like the Insignia. And this is great because it just has just under 700 guests, about 698 passengers. So it's a really good small-sized ship. Then they have 2 purpose-built ships, which are the Marina and the Riviera, which carry 1,250 passengers. So definitely in that small to mid-sized area. So if you want to go on a smaller, more intimate ship, then definitely Oceania is for you. And that's one of the things and reasons that I really like Oceania a huge amount. The second thing you need to know is Oceania operates a premium luxury cruise line. So it's not an ultra luxury line. So it's not a Seabourn, a Silversea, or in fact their sister company, Regent Seven Seas. They operate in that premium luxury side, and so they probably really compete with lines, you could argue, like Azamara, Windstar, those sort of lines which also operate smaller ships. The sort of luxury they offer, though, is a more relaxed form of luxury. So they have, for example, a more relaxed dress code. They have a country casuals dress code. So it basically means you don't wear jeans and t-shirts to evening dinner, although you can if you want to, and you can wear shorts in the informal dining. So it's a much more relaxed dress code. The service is good, but it's a slightly more informal, more relaxed dress code. So if you're looking for luxury, looking for premium, but don't want it to be formal and stuffy with lots of dress codes, a very formal service, then definitely Oceania is something to consider. One of the key big strengths of Oceania, certainly they would argue, and the people who love Oceania, everyone that I've spoken to who love Oceania would say, is the food. In fact, they believe so strongly in their food that they've trademarked a slogan, the finest cuisine at sea. They do have reportedly, and it certainly seems to be verified, the highest spend per passenger on food in its class. So they do put a lot of energy into their food. And certainly when you look at the scale and the scope of the menus on board, they are very comprehensive. They have a culinary partner who helps them craft that, and that's a Frenchman who's now based in the US. He's an author, he's a TV personality, and was actually the chef for 3 French presidents. And that's a man called Jacques Pepin. On some of the biggest ships, they have a culinary center, also with excursions. They offer specific culinary excursions where they can. They have food and wine tours, and they basically have a huge, big focus around food. Linked to that, the 4th thing you need to know, which is a really great thing, is that all dining options are included within the fare. So that's really great. So I'll just give an example, which is pretty consistent across the ships, although some of the restaurant names slightly change overall. But on Insignia, for example, this is what is included in the fare. You have the main dining room, the grand dining room, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. As I've already mentioned, huge, big menus. You then have the terrace cafe, which is the more informal dining. It's a buffet, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Huge choice of food. And often in the evenings, they will have theme nights, Mexican, Italian, those kind of themes. They have a informal sort of grill, which is the wave grill out on the pool deck, early morning breakfast, and then you can get things like hamburgers and hot dogs, that kind of stuff at lunchtime. They have baristas, where you get all specialty coffees and snacks. And then they have afternoon tea every day, which is beautiful afternoon tea with cakes and sandwiches and scones. And that's held on Insignia in the Horizons Lounge up on deck 10 every day. Also, room service is included. Then they have 2 specialty restaurants which are included within the fare. On Insignia, it's the Polo Grill, which is a steakhouse, big, luscious steaks, and they have an Italian, which is Toscana. So all of those food options, huge, big menus, which are massive, big menus, are all included within the fare, again, because of that focus on food. On Marina and Riviera, the specialty restaurants are slightly different to they are on the regatta class ships, and these are Jacques, which is French, Red Ginger, which is Asian, and Tuscan, which is more of the steakhouse. Another thing that you need to know about Oceania, and certainly something that I know a lot of passengers that I spoke to appreciate, is the fact that you have a choice of having much more included within your fare. So let me talk about what is included within the fare. Obviously the usual things, your accommodation, the food, as I've mentioned, is included. Wi-Fi is also included at a basic level. So you get free Wi-Fi per cabin. It's for one device, so you obviously have to log out if someone else wants to use it. It's pretty basic internet, so it allows you to do the usual sort of browsing, email. If you want to go a little bit more sophisticated, you want to be able to get right up to streaming quality, you then have to pay for that. And on the cruise I was on, it was $9.99 per day. In my experience on Oceania is okay on the trips that I've been on. It's certainly not like leading edge at this stage, but you do have unlimited Wi-Fi at a basic level included. Also, what you then can choose is a whole bunch of other things included. So they have what's known as O-Life fares. And you get to choose within O-Life a couple of things. Now, first of all, normally it includes airfare. You can have that stripped out and you get a discount if you don't want airfare included, but normally they include your airfare to get to the ship. Then you can choose to have one of 3 different amenities, one of which is you can just simply choose to have onboard credit. So for example, I was on a 7-night cruise and I got $400 onboard credit, and that was for the cabin, not per person. You can choose to have that, or you can choose to take excursions. So again, for example, on the 7-night Caribbean, you could get 4 excursions instead as your option, or you could choose to get a drinks package. And the drinks package is the basic package, which will give you drinks at lunchtime and at dinner, not the bigger package. This is the more ultimate package. A couple of important things to note with those inclusions. So if you go for the excursions one, you've got 4 excursions. So if there's 2 of you in a cabin, it's basically 2 excursions that you could go on to together. So if you wanted more excursions, you have to pay for that. If you're going for the drinks package, if you wanted to go for the bigger package, which allowed you drinks all of the time, then that would be, I think it was about $20 per person per day to upgrade to that. So there are more inclusions. You get to decide which of those are important. What I did, which I think was a great thing to do, is I took the onboard credit, because then I could allocate that to drinks and to extra Wi-Fi or excursions as I wanted. Very importantly, exclusions in the fare, gratuities are not included or bundled in the fare. And at the time of recording, the gratuities were $16 per person per day in a balcony cabin, slightly more if you were in a suite. So that's about $112 per person, so $224 for a couple in a cabin. Excursions, of course, are not included if you haven't boarded within that package, and you're probably going to want to do more excursions if you're on a port intensive. So those big things to watch out for: Wi-Fi is included at a basic level, which is fine, so you may not need to spend any more money there. If you want to do more excursions, you've got that cost, and you've then of course got the cost of gratuities. But certainly a lot of people that I spoke to, they really appreciate the fact that you had the choice of having more bundled into your fare. And also the other thing I found is there was lots of events and activities where drinks was included. So for example, on the captain's welcome party, there were drinks and canapes, and then for 2 hours after that, there were free cocktails in the bars, and often there'll be 2-for-1 cocktails and other offers. So certainly there is a lot of drinks and things included within the fare that are not formally declared, as it were, within the overall package. The next key thing to know, although I've already touched on it, is in terms of the informal dress code. The dress code is called country casual, and it does mean that you're asked in the evenings in the main restaurant to wear sort of slacks if you're a gentleman, some sort of collared shirt, and equivalent for ladies. You will find, however, the dress code is relatively relaxed and not everyone sticks to it. So you can find that some people are dressed incredibly beautifully and they're sitting next to people in the restaurant that are really touching the edges of country casual. Certainly if you want to come on a luxury cruise, a premium cruise, and dress very casually, shorts for dinner, you can do that, but you just can't go to the main dining room. But you are going to find a lot of variance in the dress code in an evening, so you can easily be walking around the ship in the evening with a wide range of dress codes. So that's really important to understand. If you're looking for a much more formal, dressy event, of course you can get dressed up, but not everyone on the ship is going to be doing that. In terms of guests on board, you're going to find it's very much a couple's experience, and it does tend to be slightly older, although on the cruises I've been on, it's been really, really varied with people in their late 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s and above. So it does tend to have a wide range, but it's very much a couple's experience. I was actually traveling on this as a solo traveler, and I certainly was the exception. Very importantly, there aren't solo cabins, and you do end up paying pretty much a full couple's fare if you are going to have a solo's cabin. Of course, look out for deals. But the whole experience is very much around a couple's experience. So if you want to have tables for two, for example, you can. Of course, you are going to find you'll get groups of friends traveling together, but it's not really a kids experience. So certainly there's no kids clubs, there's no kids facilities on board, and it's very much a older couples experience, not a family's. So even as a multi-generational, in my view, Oceania is not really what you're going to find a good match, because I think the kids are not going to find a great experience. And probably, I'm guessing, or they don't know it, because it's a very couples experience, kids will find that they're not really integrated as they could be on other cruise lines. The one key exception from that is if you are looking to go on Oceania in Alaska, they do run a youth program for kids up to the age of 15 on their very specific Alaska program. So they do cater for kids in that particular itinerary. A small to medium ship experience, a relaxed luxury experience, a big focus on food, and a premium experience that's not going to be fussy. That really is Oceania. They argue they cater and focus on small to mid ships, food, and real destination immersion. That's what they claim. I think it's really around the small ship, and the food is the real heart of it. Of course, you choose the itinerary to make sure you get to great destinations and itineraries that really suit you. I hope you found that helpful. It's giving you a good sense of what you need to know about Oceania. I have loads of videos of all sorts of tips, advice, and information. So why don't you watch another one of those right now?